Hello, hi, how are you? This is Coach Aaron Saft in the Running His Life podcast, and we're going to get into a bit of a deep dive into my training cycle for the Scout Mountain 100. That'll be the first race of the Rocky Mountain Grand Slam, and also talk a little bit about Misogi number 2, because that's going to be in this build. So we'll get to that. For those that aren't familiar with the term Misogi or my first Misogi, Misogi is just a personal challenge. And 2 caveats is there's a high probability of failure, and second is you cannot die. So the second Misogi we'll get into here in a bit. It's a challenge I've wanted to do for some time, and sticking it into this cycle looked very appropriate. So let's kind of start with some basics here. The Scout Mountain 100 takes place in Pocatello, Idaho, and it is June 5th, Friday, June 5th. About 23,000 feet of vertical gain, about the same of descent. Very challenging course, of course. So, pretty excited for that one. I've never raced in Idaho, so excited for that opportunity. So that, as we currently sit here, recording this on, where are we, January 29th? Yes, we're at January 29th. We're about 18 weeks, almost to the day. Tomorrow will be exactly 18 weeks until Scout Mountain. So where I'm at right now, just kind of came off a bit of recovery from the Fierce Dragon 100K, which was about 2 weekends ago. Tomorrow. So I took last week, got about 7 days off of rest, which was nice. Needed that after December. Again, for those that aren't familiar, in December, I did Misogi number 1, and that was to do the calendar challenge. And basically, I ran or increased my run by a mile each day. So on December 1st, I ran a mile, December 2nd, 2 miles, December 3rd, 3 miles, so on and so forth, and culminated with December 31st being an out and back on the shut-in trail, which ended up being 33 miles. It was almost 500 miles on the month of December. That was a huge month. I think I ended up with like 496. But anyway, you can go back and listen to the podcast episode about Misogi number 1 and all the challenges that I faced and lessons I learned. So check that episode out if you haven't listened already. Sorry for the review for those of you that has, but that was my Misogi number 1. So recovering from that, and then going into the 100K, I did a 100K report in my last podcast episode, so you can check that one out if you so choose. And then rested. We had a huge ice storm here in western North Carolina. Our house, we got a lot of ice, lost power. Thankfully, we have a whole house generator. Appreciate my dad and all his work in helping me get that together and running. So we were fine. We have Starlink internet when our normal internet goes down, so we were totally fine. We had heat and water and everything, so no sacrifices made on our end. But that said, I got out ahead of the storm and just ran an easy hour, before the weather really came in on Sunday, after the weather had come in and actually was probably still precipitating a bit. I got out with my micro spikes and did about an hour and a half around the area here. That unfortunately, the Catulas, they were great. They were awesome. They really were a great traction device, but it pressed on my Achilles. And if you remember back to what I was talking about from wearing the Norda 001As that I had gotten for Christmas and tried out on Christmas Day, it felt like it almost bruised my Achilles. It pushed in on my Achilles and really bothered it. And unfortunately, the Catulas did the same thing. So my heel was very sore on Monday. Had the intention of running, but just with everything, trying to deal with the ice and everything that was going on around here, my normal work, and this kind of achy Achilles, I ended up taking the day off. Did the same on Tuesday just to make sure it was okay. It was getting better, so I didn't want to test it. So I gave my body another day, and then yesterday, Wednesday, the 28th, I did 8 miles, and I threw in 8 hill strides. Now, I haven't done strides in forever. My last coach, Ryan, didn't do strides, interestingly. So it was nice to kind of get back to those. I missed those. I haven't done strides, like I said, in a long time. So having those back in the schedule was kind of fun. And kind of going through things and learning things, found that just needed a little bit more recovery. If you kind of go into my Strava and look, it's hard to see the heart rate because the heart rate doesn't keep up with such a short interval, nor does the watch so far as pace goes. So they look kind of erratic, but I had the same start point and tried to make it either to the same finish point or just beyond it each time. So they were pretty consistent. And I took 3 minutes of rest to give myself full recovery, burning the glycogen that quickly. At that kind of pace, your body needs that time to kind of recoup. Thankfully, my heart rate kept returning down, which was a good sign I was recovering. That's something that you can see in your intervals. If the heart rate's not getting back down, it may take it a little bit longer, but as long as it's getting back down by the end of the recovery period, you're good. You're not slowing down. In other words, if you're not reaching that same finishing point, it feels harder to get there. You need more time to recover, just as a heads up in whatever kind of intervals you're doing. Either that or you needed to back off the intensity a little bit more early on in the work. But like I said, thankfully, heart rate was kind of coming down. If anything, I would have liked, being my first one back, I don't know why, but I kind of felt rushed on the recoveries, even though it was 3 minutes. So no matter what, I was taking 3 minutes. So I should have just slowed down and let the heart rate come down even more. I was letting it come down into zone 3. I usually let it come back down into zone 2. And I was, like I said, for whatever reason, mental state, whatever it may have been, I was kind of just letting it come down into zone 3, and I was fine. As I said, felt recovered. The workout went fine. But for future bouts of these hill intervals, I'm going to make an assertive effort to try and make sure my heart rate comes down a bit more. So right now, in this phase of training, as I said, just kind of getting back on my feet, I'm just doing some simple strides, hill strides. I may do a little bit of fartlek. I kind of have a fartlek workout on the schedule late next week. I've talked about the Sisyphus hill session. It's a great fartlek workout. You can find that one on the internet. If you can't and you want to try it, let me know. I'll send it to you. I modified it. I call it the Sisyphus Beast Hill Session. It's kind of a bumped up version of it. I'm going to give that a go late next week. Just kind of see how I feel, see how it goes. My fitness is still really good from all the miles I did in December and the 100K. So, this won't be too much of a shock to the system because the intervals are, they're relatively short. So, I'm working on some hill strides, a little bit of fartlek. Been reading through the book, Training for the Uphill Athlete, and they talk about 30-30s, and I'm interested to try those, and kind of plug those in somewhere. So I may try that in this phase of training as well, and report back on those. I kind of like to do these things myself and test them out myself and on myself and see how they go, see what kind of gains or or fatigue, whatever comes of the result of doing these type of workouts before I even talk about implementing them with my own athletes that I train. So going to try those out as well. But, again, the goal right now is just getting some turnover back, getting a little bit faster. December, if anything, gave me a very strong aerobic base. But, to be honest, there isn't much segmentation between my my aerobic and my lactate threshold. So that's going to be the next phase of my training, is building back up my lactate threshold. Got a huge, strong aerobic base, but my lactate threshold is definitely lacking. So I'm going to give myself a few weeks here in strides and fartlek, about 4 weeks. So that would bring me to February 23rd, where I'll start doing some lactate threshold work, longer intervals. Some progression runs. Most of these are going to be probably uphill. I like doing them outside. I have to kind of see how it goes. It's great to do them on the treadmill because you can control that heart rate metric much better. I am a firm believer of using heart rate for lactate threshold intervals just to make sure you're hitting the zone. Most of us, if not all of us, don't have access to a lactometer, which would be the kind of end all be all, the best method of finding out if you're nailing the efforts or if you're doing too much. But without that, I use heart rate to kind of help me make sure I'm nailing these intervals, that I'm getting the most out of them. So on the 23rd, I'll be working that threshold, and I'm going to use kind of as I said, interval workouts as well as some progression runs that will give me a longer duration in that kind of that threshold, especially towards the end of the runs. So that's going to be the primary focus for about 5 weeks. So yeah, I'm looking at my training peaks here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've actually got 6 weeks in that block. I think I can make the most out of that and get a huge bump from the the fitness that I gained from working on the lactate threshold. So be building volume in that phase. I'll certainly be building volume because the intensity is not hard. I will still include hill strides. That's something that I believe should be kind of plugged in throughout the training. That may be 20-second hill strides. I may try 30-30s still. We'll see how the 30-30s go, but definitely want to still include hill strides in my training in that block as well. The week of April 6th, I will take a recovery week. This is going to be a down week for volume and intensity. No interval sessions, no progression runs, perhaps one set of strides during there. I still like to do strides during a recovery week. I'll see how it's going and how recovery is. The 7-day-a-week cycle is something that I'm used to, and having 2 recovery days in that 7-day cycle. Typically my week looks like Monday, Friday as recovery days. And what a recovery day looks like for me is a short run, be it 4 or 5 miles, really easy, kind of 60 to 69% maximum heart rate, so just really low intensity, followed by a treadmill session. I just bought a rucksack, so instead of using a weighted vest, I'm going to try a rucksack. I kind of was digging a little deeper into rucking, and it says it's better for longer, more endurance events. I don't know if a half hour really warrants that, but I was able to find a rucksack. One that I was really interested in on Facebook Marketplace for $100 under the new price. So rather than being $175 pack, I got it for $75. So great find, again, on Facebook Marketplace. Went on to Amazon, and Amazon actually has the plates, the weights that you can use. You just have to make sure they fit your pack, but they have them much cheaper than if you go around to the actual rucksack websites. So Amazon will give you a much better deal, and if you have Prime, it's free shipping. So you can save a lot of money by buying those on Amazon. So been finding some cost-effective ways to get these things. Just got the pack yesterday. Haven't tried it yet. The weights come in tomorrow, so I'll kind of report back on the rucking. But again, on those easy days, I want to keep the heart rate low, kind of build up my aerobic capacity at incline. So hope to start around like zone 2 and not get much into zone 3 on those incline hikes, but looking for about 3 miles of hiking at incline, probably up to about 15% grade at this point. Not trying to get much higher than that. May start at like 12 and kind of work my way up to 15 at the end of 3 miles. But again, monitoring my heart rate, especially having. I'm going to start probably with about 10 pounds of load in the pack, and kind of move up as I become accustomed to it. And lastly, going to do about 30 minutes of Stairmaster. I got the Stairmaster on Facebook as well for $150. It was a bit of a drive, but was able to find a great deal on a Stairmaster, so I'm going to include that as well. So I know that sounds like a lot for a recovery day, but it's all at low intensity, and with the caveat that if I'm not feeling up to doing that much, I can always not do part of or all of those activities. Also going to be my strength days. So my coach Will Franz, who was on the podcast recently as well, he has a program set for me. So Monday, Friday are going to be my strength days. So a lot going on those days. Again, I know I'll have to see how it goes, right? Like if I'm not recovering, if I'm not feeling like I'm getting recovered, we'll break those up and move those throughout the week, and move strength perhaps to a workout day. I'll just have to wait and see how things go. But that's training, is waiting and seeing how it goes. But those all are activities that are really going to help in my goal. Not only for Misogi 2, but for the Rocky Mountain Grand Slam and Scout Mountain to start out. So that's basically what those weeks are going to look like. Again, recovery week, April 6th. Then we get into the maximum volume phase, and that's starts April 13th and runs all the way to the taper, where I start my taper on May 25th. So I got about a 6 weeks in maximum volume, where the focus is going to be on vertical gain. Now, I'm still doing some progression runs. I still want to touch that lactate system. I still want to get strides in there. I'd like to include all of that stuff in the maximum volume phase. So you're still touching on those systems, still getting that neurological stimulation from the strides. So it keeps you fresher, but the volume is going to be, obviously the focus there. So going to have a lot of time on feet, and try to mimic the best I can the elevation gain per mile of Scout Mountain. And basically, the hope is to kind of accumulate about 25,000 feet of gain per week. And that would include the treadmill hiking, of course my runs and such, but like everything combined to be hopefully around 25,000 feet of vertical gain, maybe a little bit more at times. We'll see, especially the week of April 27th. That's the week I hope to take on Misogi number 2. Misogi number 2 is going to take place on May 2nd. is my hope. And the way the schedule looks right now, it looks like the best opportunity for me to do this. And Misogi number 2 is going to be attempt at Everesting. So for those that don't know Everesting, it's basically you take on a climb and repeat that climb until you get the elevation of Mount Everest, which is 29,000 whatever feet. I don't have that exact number off the top of my head, but it is 29,000 something feet of climbing. Now, I dug into all trails a little bit prior to this episode just to kind of see what my options were. My good friend, Jonathan Eibach, he did an Everesting on Woody's Ridge. I remember, the post, and just kind of plugging it into all trails. And again, this is going to really depend on the condition of the trail. I do have a fallback in Thompson Creek, which is it's a mile segment with 1,000 feet of gain. But I wanted to get a longer climb in just to kind of replicate what I'll be seeing out west. So Woody's Ridge kind of fit the bill there. And the other potential is to go up Woody's Ridge and down Bolins, or vice versa, and go back and forth. But the reality is that Woody's Ridge is 2.5 mile segment with roughly 3,000 feet of vertical gain, which is pretty incredible for a 2.5 mile climb here in Western North Carolina. So, looking at doing repeats on Woody's Ridge until I Everest. So, be hiking up and then kind of getting down as quickly and safely as possible. Woody's is a pretty technical trail, so some things to consider there. Probably do a few scouting trips to kind of see. So a few of my runs will probably be over in that vicinity to check out Woody's Ridge, see my level of comfort with that trail, and then maybe kind of see what a while back. Actually, I was training for Hard Rock. I went up with a friend, and we did repeats of Bolins, going up Bolins, down Woody's, and back. I think we did 3 repeats of that. Quite significant gain, but I could go back and look at those numbers as well. But again, the point is to get an Everesting in, and that will be Misogi number 2, a goal that I've had for quite some time. And it seems like a great time in my training to attempt this, especially with the goal of racing the Rocky Mountain Slam with all the elevation gain that these races will have. June being this race, the Scout Mountain, and then July being the Ouray, which is the most elevation gain I've faced in a 100-miler, with over 46,000 feet of vertical gain. Pretty significant. So I want to make sure that my climbing is on point, and that's why I'm doing treadmill hiking with the ruck pack. It's why I'm doing the Stairmaster. Why I'm doing this Misogi. So that's the big run. That will be the big run of my build up. We'll see how the Misogi goes. The other thing that I'd like to include, that would be, let's see, so round trip, that would be 5 miles. So I would need, let's see, how many times? That's 3,000, about 10 trips. So it's roughly 50-mile run. So that's a great training stimulus. Okay. I may hit a 50K a little bit earlier. I'd like to do something that's has an extreme amount of vertical gain. That might be something like Quest for the Crest. If I can access the trails for that, I might do the course itself in training. Again, we'll just have to kind of see how the trails are. I could always do Art Loeb or another out and back on shut-in. But yeah, I would put that a bit earlier in the training cycle. So try to keep it at least 5 weeks away from the Everesting. So that would bring us back to around March 28th. So just kind of have to look at the schedule. That one's not finalized, but we'll kind of see. I'm going to put a note in Training Peaks as I speak right now. So March 28th. Yeah, looks like that date's open. So it might be a good date for a 50K with some good gain. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that brings us to the taper, which will be May 25th, right up to race day. It gives me a little over a week and a half of tapering. The week before that will probably be a little bit lighter. Yeah, I mean, I'm still getting significant volume, but I wouldn't say it would be a part of the taper. Even if it's a little less volume, it's still going to be a pretty high volume week. But then, yeah, the taper, just decreasing volume, of course. Still want to keep some stimulus in there, so I'll probably do a progression run that week before and some strides, and then the week of just nice, easy, kind of getting ready for the event. So. That's the plan. That's the plan of going out west and taking on the first race of the Rocky Mountain Slam. We'll see how that goes, and then we'll kind of go from there as to what I need to do to recover and get ready for Ouray. This weekend, February 1st, the race that I'm hoping to add into the Slam has its lottery opening, so I'll keep you guys posted on the result of that, because right now I've got Ouray and Crazy Mountain on back-to-back weekends. Love to do Crazy Mountain, but obviously with having Ouray the weekend before, it's going to be extremely challenging if that's what I have to do. So we'll see how this last lottery goes. So fingers crossed, prayers appreciated. We'll see how it all goes. Upcoming in February, just as a reminder, there's 2 trail work days, February 7th and February 21st. On Snook's Nose, there's a big reroute going on, so you can sign up on the G5 Trail Collective. So if you're interested in helping out, please come out and help. We really want to get Snooks back to good shape. A lot of us would love to see Hellbender return to its original trails. So, if you can come out either day for any amount of time, it's super appreciated. But again, you can check out the G5 Trail Collective website and sign up for volunteering for that day. I will put that link in the show notes, so it's easy to find. And like I said, hope to see you out there. And I hope your training is going well. I hope everything is well by you. I am currently accepting athletes. So if you are looking for a coach for future endeavors, please reach out. All the ways to do so are in the show notes. If you're interested in learning more about my coaching, you can visit my website, runningislife.run. And please, let's set up a call and chat and see if we're a good fit for one another. I greatly appreciate that opportunity. Other than that, my friends, busy weekend on the track. Indoor track is coming to the postseason. Today we have our conference meet. We're heading down to the Tryon Equestrian Center, which is a very nice facility. So fortunate to have that in Western North Carolina as an indoor track facility. So we've got our conference meet tonight, and then tomorrow and Saturday we'll be at the JDL facility in Winston-Salem for the Mondo Elite indoor track invitational. So my daughter is racing the mile tonight, the 1,000 tomorrow, and then the mile again on Saturday. So busy weekend. We'll see how she responds and go from there. But yeah, just in full indoor track mode right now, and enjoying it. We just brought on, hopefully it works out, but it looks like it will, a new sprint coach. He's a retired coach from Millikan University, and Don Louie, and he has such tremendous knowledge. Already beginning to learn more from him about sprinting and such. So I look forward to working and learning from him. I appreciate that opportunity. So, gaining some more knowledge about training even shorter distances now, which is fantastic. So It's a busy time right now. Working on finishing up reading the book, Uphill Training, Training for the Uphill Athlete. Really been enjoying that book. I've gone back through a number of times what I've read just to kind of grasp it a little bit better, and really trying to learn and take things away from it. The Misogi taught me so much. Began to talk with my athletes about not only the mental aspects of what I took away, but also the physical things that we can implement into their training and hopefully give them better results moving forward. So really enjoying that aspect of coaching right now is continuing to learn. I'm hoping for some time and availability to opening up. I signed up for a UESCA strength training course. It doesn't necessarily make me a strength coach, but it gives me a little bit more background and understanding in strength training. I just need more time to devote to really digging into that. So hopefully when I'm finished with the training for the uphill athlete, I can dig a little bit more into that and grasp a little bit more about strength training. But yeah, I don't hope to replace my coach. I'm really happy to be working with Will. He does a tremendous job, and I really appreciate that. So I hope this finds all of you well, and everything's okay by you. Those of you that have had the ice storms, I hope you're okay from all of that. I know we're expecting a little bit more winter weather this weekend, so everybody stay safe. Be mindful of the trails, okay? I know it's we all love to be out on them, but a lot of them are closed right now, and good reason. We can certainly get hurt if we're out there, especially alone. So be real careful, please. I don't want to hear a report that anybody got seriously injured out there. So be mindful, okay? Be safe. And I thank you guys for listening. Thanks for being a part of the podcast. Until next time, keep moving forward, my friends. Running is life.